Snow removal on your street. How can you stay informed about these and other important local services? Tune to City Council coverage on Rogers TV. See your community leaders at work on Rogers TV City Council coverage.
You're watching Rogers TV.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Thanks for joining us today. We are here at Ledgerock Quarries, or should I say Wiarton Ledgerock Quarry, at one of their locations here with Madison and Sean. Thank you very much for allowing us to come in and have a peek here. What's going on behind us is absolutely fascinating to me. You've got equipment running here in the background, and you've got saws that actually cut the stone out of the quarry. Explain what goes on behind us.
So we're an architectural stone quarry. So we're interested in getting the biggest, highest quality pieces we can, because we're cutting it into pieces that are going to be fabricated for various building applications. Aggregate is secondary for us. We just take our junk and crush it. So we're looking for big slabs. So what we do is we actually cut the stone. You can see some of the cuts in the stone here where we cut the perimeter of the blocks that we're wanting to extract, and then we come in with a loader and just hit it with our forks on the horizontal seams to physically lift the block out of the ground. These cuts are all made by belt saws that are very similar in operation to just a standard chainsaw, except scaled up by a factor of 100.
Really? So
Yes.
It's just like a normal working chain, like nothing, no diamond cutters or anything like that?
We are diamond. So the belt itself is rubber around some cables for strength. And then there are diamond segments, sintered diamond segments, where the diamonds are impregnated in metal that actually do the cutting.
Wow.
It just grinds away at the stone, water flushes it away, and it just carries on.
Carries on. One thing I noticed when we were coming in here is the ponds of water. Beautiful, clear blue, but it has a purpose, right?
Yes, we have to use it for all of our cutting applications. It helps keep dust down. It helps clean out all of the dust that's created during the cutting process. And it's also a coolant and a lubricant as well. These belt saws actually use it as a lubricant, as there's only a 30-pound belt moving around this bar. So otherwise we'd have rubber on steel,
Right.
and the water actually creates a film that the belt floats on to keep it from wearing out. The rubber actually will wear away the steel.
Oh, interesting. Wow. And each piece that you're taking out here, I have a problem with weights. How, like, is it equivalent to a car, or like how heavy is it?
We're a lot more than a car. Some of these blocks are going to be in the neighborhood of 30,000 pounds.
Oh my.
So it's borderline to put 3 of them on a fully loaded transport truck.
Oh, that's heavy.
They're quite heavy.
That's quite heavy. So hence the big equipment that's behind
Exactly.
us. Yeah. How did all of this get started? Like, how many years have you been doing this?
So we've been in business for 65 years. It was originally started by Harold and Ralph Stobie. We started at our Owen Sound location actually, and it was originally to supply stone for their construction company that they were building houses with.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. And now how many generations have been working here now, like at the quarry?
3. We're actually the 3rd generation.
You're the
before
3rd.
this was our parents and our grandfather before.
Oh, that is
Yeah.
so cool. Oh my goodness. What an honor to be working in your grandparents' footsteps.
It really is.
Yeah, and it's really mushroomed since just building houses.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can we have a look at the cutter behind us here, Sean?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's go have a look. So explain what's going on here, Sean.
So these are the machines we use to cut out the shapes of the blocks. These are all diamond belt saws. So we can see one of them's being set up to run, they're fully portable machines. So we move them around on these tracks, and you can see these leveling bolts that we put in to keep everything level. We want that bar vertical, otherwise it gets some weird loads on it and damage it. And we can drop that bar down to, for us, upwards of 10.5 feet. The saws themselves are capable of cutting up to 22 feet in certain materials. Not here because we have a relatively hard stone. And then you can see the saw on the left is actually running right now.
Yeah.
And they're cutting about 8 feet right now.
So how long would it take for the machine to start at the beginning of the track to get to the end? How long does that take?
From where we're standing right here to where that saw is stopped is probably about 6 hours.
6 hours. So almost a shift.
Yes.
A full shift to
These
cut
saws are going to be moving from 1.5 to 2 inches per minute. It's not, once they're running, there's not much to see with them. They move slowly because they're cutting so deep.
Right. So what is the next step then? Does it get piled somewhere?
We come in and extract it with the machines you can see, and then it gets sorted out based on material type, quality, things like that. It'll get cleaned up. In some cases, it'll get inspected, and then it'll be prepped to ship to our main production location.
Okay. Can we go to that location?
Absolutely.
Perfect. So Sean, you've brought us down into the pit here just to explain some of the features of the stone, what you're looking for.
Yes. So this particular wall here, up on top, it's a little bit hard to see. There's a thin layer of material that we use for armor stone. In other parts of the quarry, there's actually stone another 6-7 feet on top of that.
Right.
3 or 4 different materials, our Wiarton brown and gray, our black flagstone, and some other material that's basically overburden. But underneath, we get to our Aramosa band. And this is really our bread and butter as a company. From the top down to the bottom, we consider 3 distinct layers. So about 1 meter down from the top is our first layer, we call it, down to about here.
About here.
That material tends to be much darker. The next band down to about here, another meter or so, is our second layer. It's a little bit lighter in color.
Yeah, you can definitely tell the difference. Yeah.
And sometimes it can be a higher quality material in terms of cracking and things like that. And the very bottom, 2 to 2.5 feet, is our third layer of Aramosa, also known as Artesia, which is a more interesting look. The graining is quite a bit different, and it's got much more of a steely bluish kind of color to it, but it tends to have a lot more defects in it, a lot of pitting, so we tend to only use it for a few split face purposes for wall cladding, things like that.
Okay.
There's the rest of the Aramosa is multi-purpose. It can be used from anywhere from our lowest graded material, so to speak, to fancy large format polished slabs for countertops.
Interesting.
And this material does take a very good polish.
Okay.
It gets really dark, almost a mahogany-like color when you polish it.
Okay.
We are standing on the same layer that we were standing on back there as a reference point for you.
Really?
This is the same layer as back there.
Where the saw was cutting.
So you saw there was basically this stone back there
Right.
to the surface level. From here, you've got another 10 feet up. And like I said, you go another 400 or 500 feet in that direction, there's another 7 feet of stone on top of that again.
Oh my gosh.
It varies a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
And then in areas across the road, this band here, which is, near the surface here, you have to go down almost 50 feet to reach it.
Interesting
Just from
how
all the other layers that have piled up on top.
Interesting. Yeah. Nature's wonder.
Yes.
It really is. So our next stop will be to those polishing areas. I guess we'll go
Yep.
to the Owen Sound Ledgerock location next.
Absolutely.
Great.
I was born and raised in Musqueam First Nation territory by my mother, who spoke Hunkaminam to me. As a child, I ceased using my mother tongue, as to use any language other than English was considered not being Canadian, so I was told. The old people came to me in a dream and reminded me of who I am and where I come from. I have reawakened. My roots are strong, and I'm no longer a silent speaker. My language tells me where I'm from. It defines me and guides me to teach others to learn and understand our culture and traditions. A gift for those in the present and the unborn generations. What was lost is found. What was asleep has awakened. My blood is here, and I am complete. I have returned home.
Hey, I'm Jay Crawford. And I'm Cedric Gano. And make sure you tune in on Attack Rap every week on Rogers TV to make sure you know what's going on with your Owen Sound Tech.
October 5th, 2014, my daughter was hit by a train. She was walking along the sides of the tracks, and it shattered her world.
Okay, that was insane. What did we just see in there?
So that's our Eagle. It's one of our primary saws. It has a 3.5 meter diameter blade, which is among the largest commercially available in the world. It's 11.5 feet, 3.5 meters.
Okay.
We can cut up to a 5 foot deep slab with that particular saw.
And is that just a normal saw, or is there something special about that?
That's a fairly pedestrian machine. We have some other ones of the same size that are newer, but that one's big.
That's huge, massive, and loud.
Yes.
Very.
Yes. Okay.
All of our primary saws tend to be like that. They're a high-powered machine just built to take blocks down into slabs. So we have 2 with the 3.5 meter blade. There's another one here with a 2.5 meter blade. 3 of them with a 2 meter blade, and so on. They're all meant to just cut slabs to supply the rest of the shop.
Right. Okay. So we've cut a slab here. Where's the next spot we go?
Anywhere really, but we'll head inside our cut stone shop where some of the interesting stuff happens.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Let's go.
All right.
Yeah.
The polisher strutting.
This is a slab polisher here.
Oh, like a kitchen counter.
So this would make the counter of your kitchen, basically.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So it brings all that color out is when it goes through a machine like this.
So we load the pieces in here. We feed a raw slab in on this side, and all of these operational heads here will mill it down to its desired thickness and put specified finishes on it, up to and including a very high polish.
Oh.
So these slabs running through here are getting, at the very least, honed right now. So normally we'd have 2 gauging heads here that would grind the slabs down to thickness. One of them's off getting repaired. And then we have a series of 8 polishing heads afterwards that actually come down on the stone and grind it in this manner here. So these have progressively finer grits to put a progressively finer finish on the stone. And then it rolls out here, and we have our finished product. You can see how much darker the stone is compared to when we saw it up in the quarry. This is the material that was in that wall we got up close to.
At Wiarton.
Yes.
It doesn't look like the wall that we were standing beside.
No. You
No.
look to the side and you can kind of see those lines.
Oh, right, yeah.
But the polishing brings out the color in a significant way.
It's beautiful. And what would this be used for?
It can be used
Counter?
for anything. These here could be going for parts of the countertop. They could be going for coping, which is kind of a tread or a barrier around some sort of architectural feature. There's a lot of different uses for this material.
It's beautiful. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. Okay. This is a little different than what we just seen.
Yeah. So here we are, we're at our shot glass machine. It actually creates a rougher texture compared to the machine that we just saw before. This is really commonly used on an outdoor application.
But it's a grayer rock, but it's not smooth. So how are you getting this texture?
So when it goes through the machine, it gets fed in through one side, and there's actually steel pellets that come through down the machine that actually creates this rough material because it comes through at such a fast rate and so much of it that it gets it to give it
So it's
rather than a soft but a harder finish.
Oh, okay, yeah. And this you said was an outside?
Yeah,
So
this
it's
is
like
really,
a non-slip then?
yeah, it's
Okay.
really commonly used outside. We do see it in some indoor application, but really Aero sand pavers is what this is, and we see it a lot in paver applications around pools or patios.
Makes sense. Yeah, it's beautiful. So how long would this process take from the beginning of the machine through to the end?
A couple of minutes.
Yeah.
It moves quick through there.
Very,
The
very
belt
quick
speed
process.
is in the neighborhood of 4 feet per minute.
Yeah.
Wow.
It puts on a finish very quickly.
Yeah, we're able to make very many skids in a day just because of how quickly we can process it. Basically, it's just the unloading and reloading that's done by someone that is the slower part of the process.
Right, and it's a custom order. You can pick your sizes.
Yeah, we do
the
have
whole-
standard products, but we can make them really to any desired size.
Very nice. Great work.
So this particular machine here is actually a full CNC machine.
So what is a CNC machine?
The CNC stands for Computer Numerical Control. Allows this machine to move in any direction it's capable of to any point.
Okay.
Basic machines can generally only move in one direction at a time along one axis. So all the other saws we saw, they will move along the x-axis, the horizontal axis, the z-axis, rise and fall. This one can move along all of them at the same time to any designated point. So you can cut a lot of very custom designs. This particular machine, we cut a lot of squares with. It's a lot of pavers and square cut material because of how it's set up. It's one big production line which feeds slabs in here, it'll cut the slabs while they're being programmed here and unloaded over there, just to keep it engaged in the stone more often. But it is capable of producing any number of shapes. This one in particular is a 5-axis machine, so it can move along the bridge, it can move up and down, and it can move forwards and backwards. The head itself can also spin, and it can also tilt on miter as well. So we can produce angled miter cuts here.
Okay, so you do special design work here then? Like it's all custom work for the...
Yeah, a lot of what goes through here is custom sizing.
Okay.
We don't do a lot of the real quirky looking shapes here, just the nature of the machine. We'll see those machines later, but we can do them here.
Okay.
But this machine here is unique within this shop. If you look onto it, it's also got suction cups on either side of the blade, so it can actually pick up part of the slab and move it out of the way. So if we're cutting a slab where you would have the pieces or the cuts intersect in a T, you would have to move pieces out of the way, otherwise the blade is going to cut into the next piece when you're getting close to it.
I understand
Something
now.
very cool about this is there's actually a camera over this table. Once you lay your slab on there, you can visually see it on this screen.
On the
And
screen.
you can pick and choose where your slab piece is going to be cut out of the stone.
Oh my word. This is amazing.
It's very cool
You know?
to see.
Yeah. Gone are the days of the hammer and the chisel, right?
Yeah, to a degree, for sure.
Yeah. This is great. Okay. We'll move on to the next machine.
Yeah.
This is telling us what? There's a lot of numbers flashing here.
So this is the position that the machine's working at, along with a direction of how much further it needs to move along the line of code it's working on. So this CNC mill here is, you can actually see a CNC in action here, moving from point to point, which allows you to, like I said before, cut pretty much any shape you want. You can actually see some of the lines of code appearing up here.
Right.
And that is really unique. An interesting thing about us, we purchased our first CNC machine in 1989. We were one of the first stone companies in Canada to invest in one. And we were apparently the first in Canada to actually use full CAM software, computer-aided manufacturing, which is what this is operating off of. So we were a trailblazer in the field, which is now standard. At that time, all these sort of custom shapes were all done by hand. A lot of chiseling and grinding and things like that.
Chisel. So you were mentioning, Madison, that you work with different architect companies and they just send you a digital file and...
Yeah, exactly. And we have a group of drafters that actually make tickets that then come out to the shop where the person who operates the saw then programs it and allows us to make the piece.
Wow. Very interesting. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of technical stuff that on the other side in the office that we don't see here.
Yes.
It just gets into the machine.
And in this case, the operators will sometimes make the actual CAM files for operating this equipment as well. They have their own office for programming that while the machines are running.
While it's running. Wow. That's so neat. So neat.
But it was that investment in 1989 that really changed the direction of this company. Up to that point, we were producing a lot of landscaping stone, your square cut pavers, stuff that was relatively simple to make, relatively.
Wow.
When we got that CNC, all of a sudden, we could, in hours, make what would take days using a hammer and a chisel.
Right.
So we had a whole new market available to us, and now it's a significant driver of all of our sales. We do a lot of custom work around Ontario and around the world as well.
Around the world, that is really interesting because I did not know that this was shipped across the sea. Where are some of the places it's landed?
Well, one of the most interesting places is actually in the Burj Khalifa in Dubai, the tallest building in the world. There's an Armani hotel in there which has our stone on it. We've also provided stone for the Canadian Embassy in Berlin. There's a Baha'i temple in Santiago, Chile that we provided stone to. And we've also provided stone for HBO headquarters and the CNN Center in Atlanta.
I never knew. That is amazing. Congratulations. Like
Thank
that,
you.
I just didn't know that was in my backyard, and it happened in my backyard.
Yeah.
And even some regional jobs. We've done a lot of projects in the Toronto area. We've provided stone to the Royal Ontario Museum, the Art Gallery of Ontario, the Toronto Opera Centre has our stone. We've also provided to a lot of buildings on university campuses. The Richard Ivey School of Business at Western University and the Jackman Law Building at the University of Toronto also features our stone. And even locally, we've provided stone to the Julie MacArthur Regional Rec Center. We've provided stone for the Gitchinami Wikwadong Friendship Garden at Nawash Park, and several other local jobs as well.
Amazing. Wow. I'm speechless. Like the stuff that you've done has just been amazing. It's been such an educational experience so far.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I look forward to the next spot we're going to go. This is one building and one piece of equipment.
Yeah, it's another 3.5 meter saw. You can't actually see it because most of it's sitting up in that shroud. But while it's cutting, the blade will actually come down and make cuts, and you'll see it much more clearly. But you can see it sits a lot lower than the Eagle does, which allows it to be more stable and provide better quality cuts.
Right, and it actually rides up on these tracks
It
that are
moves
on
up,
both.
up and down on these tracks, yeah.
And is this something that's programmed as well then with a computer system?
All of our primary saws are programmable, and they can run indefinitely. However much stone you put in, we've had programs where they run for over 70 hours on a long weekend.
Oh my gosh.
So as much stone as you put in, they can cut.
Do you have a hydro backup for this place, or does it when the hydro goes down?
When the
you're
hydro
done?
goes down, we're down.
You're down.
Yeah.
Oh,
Luckily, it doesn't happen too often, but
right.
You can actually see them bringing it up.
Oh, it is moving this way.
yeah.
Can you drop the blade down too, just so we can get footage of that?
This is insane. I can't imagine building a building for one piece of equipment.
You can see it does have one big blade on it.
And the shiny things on it, is that your diamonds?
Those are the diamond segments. So that's all diamond embedded in a mix of metals. It's all sintered together. And that's what actually does the grinding of the stone to make the cuts. Those are a wear item, and the steel core is not.
How long does that saw last?
The saws themselves can last decades. Those diamond tips are more in the line of weeks.
So do you have a jeweler come in and put those on?
No, there are companies that make them, and we install them ourselves. That are just soldered on that blade.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think that would hold it on, but they get sufficiently sharp and have so little drag that the solder is enough to hold that in place.
Oh my, I never knew that.
Our maintenance retips the blades for us.
You have an incredible crew of maintenance people. You have so much equipment here, from loaders to like almost millwright stuff. Like, it just blows my mind what technology you have here.
Yep.
We're in the loading dock area now. We have seen a lot of stuff and a lot of employees.
Yeah, we have upwards of 100 employees, and really they are the backbone to our company. They're why we can run and how efficient we run. They really are everything to us, and we're very grateful to have such a great group of employees that work for us and really make Ledgerock what they are.
Yeah, about how many employees are here?
So in our Owen Sound location, we probably have around 60, 70-ish employees. And then our Wiarton location, we have around 20 to 25.
And such a vast amount of expertise that you have here.
Yeah.
We've seen one fellow manually, and I was joking back about the chisel and the hammer, but you actually have a fellow that is so talented that you were talking about his years of service here. He actually reads the rock.
Yes, he is very, very talented in what he does, and we have a lot of employees that are just incredible at their jobs. Some of these, it's a talent to have to be able to finish some of these materials, and we're really grateful to have such wonderful employees that do create such wonderful products for our company that we're able to put our name on.
Yeah, it's an amazing spot. What we have in front of us here is ready to go out, but we watched this go from, now you'll have to help me here, Sean, it went from the
CNC mill.
CNC mill, thank you. Yeah.
To the finishers.
To the finishers.
So what comes off that mill is not actually a finished product. Everything it does is kind of in increments of around 1 millimeter. So it'll move, it'll drop about 1 millimeter, make its next pass. So everything comes out with a little bit of a step pattern. So the finishers take all of that and smooth it out. There's none of that left on here. They're also doing some hand carving of details. They're putting the rock facing on, like we saw. They're sanding flat pieces to a specific smooth sand because a saw provides a rough finish.
Right.
All sorts of different stuff those guys are doing.
Yeah, it's just amazing to see the amount of steps that you've taken us through today, right from the quarry to here, and the amount of staff that's here, the places this stuff has landed, the equipment that you have. You were mentioning some of this stuff comes from Germany, and how you work with other architect companies and purchasing the machine. I can't even imagine trying to set up a company and find all the machinery. And you also mentioned that you have a new piece of machinery too that cuts as well.
Yeah, we have a new 3.5 meter saw, similar to the one we saw earlier, but it's much improved in virtually every way.
Well, the first saw that we seen totally blew me away, the Eagle. I was not expecting to see that when I walked through the door. I guess I've just never really thought the process through. When you see someone's house and you see a design, or you see someone that's engraved their house number, those are all things that have come from here. And the amount of talented staff that you've got, we never even touched on the office staff that you have as well, the technicians, the computer people that...
Yeah.
We have a range of maintenance staff that help keep all the machinery going. We have drafts people that produce the tickets for the operators to be able to produce everything. We have all the sawyers and other production folk that are crucial to actually making the product. It's a whole team effort.
It's a whole team effort.
Get it all done.
Definitely a spot to check out for careers as well. How can people get in touch with the Owen Sound Ledgerock company?
So you're able to go to our website, just ledgerock.com, all of our information to get in touch with our head office. To apply, you can apply at any of our locations, and we're always happy to invite new people into our company.
Yeah, and definitely check out their website. I'm amazed you've got photos of installations that you have done. You have certainly opened up my eyes, and I really thank you for allowing us to come here to kind of do an exclusive interview with you. And I thank you as our watchers that you've spent the day with us. We'll see you again next time on Wandering Grey Bruce.
Connect with us by visiting our website or email us at comments@rogerstv.com.